Today is July 18th, 2026. Last night on the 17th, outside my work, there was teenage boys out there laughing. We found out what's going on. The one they call Henry Maffei admitted he never met her in person. He was supposed to be the dirty doctor from before. He's that guy Pete they talk about. And laughing. Okay. Which we're going to put it this way, Agent John. You better be deep undercover. If not, you've committed treason, espionage, human trafficking, and attempted murder. Whole long list, like life imprisonment. Because you think of what is actually going on. Where you were actually part of setting up the scam to scam the FBI out of money. With your prostitute girlfriend and her dad. And set up the whole scam. Because with Henry Maffei being that girl that you have to pay to date, and like I said, she's a prostitute. And that's her dad, which is supposed to be the dirty doctor from before, the guy Pete Dave hired on his own. You knew he wasn't my doctor. You knew they were scamming you. This is a whole different level. And where, June 28, 26, when I was in Carrollton. Was it the 28th or 29th? A big guy shows up. I thought they were only making fun of you. I found out what's going on. It's not funny. Shows up outside my work that night. I found out there's a real FBI case. Found out that FBI taped Melissa telling the kids to lie. The kids stating that they wanted the house for that girl. They're stealing everything for her. And that they made everything up. You better tell her to tell everybody she knows, not to say a word. She was taped by the police and the FBI saying that, telling her kids to lie. And her kids saying that they were making everything up. And they wanted the house for that girl they're stealing everything for. Heard there's some lady waiting to arrest her. He said, I know about that lady. She's ready to pounce. She's going to arrest her in a heartbeat. Then you tell everybody never say a word again. They were all lying, making everything up for that girl to get everything. Just like they were taped her. She'll end up in jail. So, with that being Dave's girlfriend, you prostituted your prostitute to my husband. You are several ways of nasty to convince that old fool to go along with this. To pull a scam on me. People have even said, like last weekend, down in Carrollton, that prostitutes related to Katie. Is she? See, March 5th, 26 Bell Store, where they were already talking about in Farallon. That is Katie's family trying to steal everything for themselves. They were talking it there. We found out it's Katie's family trying to steal everything. Now this is funny. Uh-huh. Yeah, we're going to have a long talk. Those boys outside said we found out that attorney's office behind us was in a Walmart bragging he's the one that put her through a complete whore. They better be taking care of him. The Will guy, the Bill from the Freemason scam, that Will guy that's to pull a scam off here to join us. Mm-hmm. So, Agent John, deep undercover, or what? You set it up with the cartel, your prostitute girlfriend, her dad, to run a con on the FBI, to open up a fraud case. To steal from him. Aiding and abetting foreign drug cartels. Trying to rob the U.S. government of 10 to 25 billion. You know what those boys said last night? That agent gets those drug dealers released. You know they'll probably kill them. I know that. I've prayed for you. Honestly prayed for you. Hoping that there was a smidge of hope that it was just your deep undercover, not this dirty. Prayed for you. You know, the scam of him telling on me, calling the hotline, saying he didn't care because a minister called me a faker and I almost died from medical malpractice and it took me 9 months to get well. To cover up his son's adultery from 15 years before. And he was going to turn me back over to him and all this other stuff. Told him he was going to defraud me before he talked to me. Been on a recorded line. He had everybody in his office. They already knew that they were illegally monitoring me. Making fun of me for some guy named Pete. Found out that's his prostitute girlfriend, dad. My God. And he likes to play the detective. Oh, I found out that asshole Henry Moffitt, that Pete guy. And from those kids laughing, they said he's the one sending out emails saying she thinks she's so beautiful, show up and call her ugly. I didn't say it was that beautiful. I said I'm not ugly. And for somebody who's 59 years old, I look pretty damn good. I passed for 40s. So men don't show up for that asshole. Okay. I worked up in Akron, and the lady I was taking care of, her cleaning lady was a retired CIA agent. She used to be a sniper for him, and she smokes too much, and she has health issues. Then she was captured and drugged up real bad. You can tell she's a little fried. Well, she had to resign. Now she cleans, okay? Still talks to him, though. And her family's big in the military. She said, Karen, you can tell you've been around the human traffickers. Every time I talk to you, it's like talking to a mafia mama. The way you stand, the way you talk, the way you act. I said, well, they'd walk by and bully me. Do this, do that. Your hair looks off of that. Until she said, I said, they'd even yell at me for the way I talked. She's like, you better be careful, the special outfit comes out. And I said, they mentioned that. She said, that means you're sold. And if they say you're gorgeous, that means I want to kill you. They're code words. She said, you know that Texas group, all law enforcement are after them. They've killed agents. And they're all after them. Now, Agent John, I want you to think about this. They called you fool June 7th, 23. How they fooled you with a stun of tapes before. Oh, come on now. It was only a sign. I mean, Agent John, FBI Agent John fell for the stun of tapes before. Is that what's going on? Ha 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 ha. Made a public fool, send it out to kids. Send it out to everyone. Them mocking you. August 5th, 25 Dutch Valley Restaurant, as if Agent John didn't know. They used hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. He was telling everybody he knew she was being drugged, beat, and raped and didn't care before the case started. He even let him torture her. Is he some kind of coward? So you're a fool and a coward. They tell everybody you took a payoff and they have you in their pocket. They think you're a fool and a coward and a paid off bitch. And where July 5th, 26, 2:30 to 3, my car is parked from the case. There's a guy outside. The drug lord found out that girl stole money again. Or first they said that guy they call Henry Moffey, his daughter was in a restaurant laughing she stole all her money. She wasn't to get a dime. They were never to take her money. She was given to that agent to date him, to get him to go along with this. She didn't date you because she liked you. She was forced. She was to be, like the guy said a few days ago when he showed up in Carrollton, she was to work it off. She was made by a drug lord to date you. Because she's a prostitute, she made you pay her. So we're going to put it this way. She wasn't even dating you on her own willingness. So are you seeing Agent John with your prostitute girlfriend? Her dad prostituted out your prostitute to my husband to get him to go along with us. So you could steal for the Texas group, set up a fraud case so it would be thrown out, so they could sue for tens of millions of dollars each. You really want to say that? There's a big problem with this. I pray you're on deep undercover, but you know what? Like, see, the cartel would say, you only live long enough for your usefulness to be done, and then we kill you. They kill agents. They already think you're a fool and a coward and a paid-off bitch. That they're just manipulating. So, did you help set up the con on the FBI? You knew that guy was your prostitute staff. You knew this whole thing was a con. Now you think about me calling in for help. And you telling everybody you knew they were drug beating, raping me, and you didn't care because somebody called me a faker, and I almost died from medical malpractice. 15 years before, just made up that lie to cover up his son's adultery, which will take care of that one in a minute because I'm trying not to blow up now. See, the con of it is where I've heard people laughing. They're running around laughing that they set it up. She's never get a dime. The scam of the FBI defrauded me of money. So the drug cartel gets released. They can't set it up. I can't get money. You can stop your lying. I have to be paid or the case gets thrown out. And to defeat his fraud, and what I was told and what I Googled, a written statement, they write it up, I sign it, they pay me and compensate me. It will take it out of them defrauding me and they can take care of him themselves. Where I was willing to stay up there while they were surveillancing me to get the people threatening me and harming others, knowing I was risking my life and personal harm and personal injury, knowing the FBI, the agency alone, would be paying me and compensating me for any injuries I got. And they would be the ones paying me. Okay? And knowing my constitutional rights of freedom of speech, the First Amendment, that agent on a recorder line was only bullying me and does not have the authority to ask me to stay quiet. And he was only bullying me, and that the agency alone would be taking care of it. It takes me from being a victimized victim that he was defrauding to a knowledgeable, willing worker, willing to sacrifice my life to help them. And that would be compensated and knew my rights, and that he was only bullying me, and that the FBI alone would be taking care of it. A signed statement, like they said, that should fix it. And they pay me and compensate me, and then it becomes a legal transaction of using me as an informant. Okay? They can take care of Agent John if he's this dirty. We're going to put it this way. Alright, today's 18th. On the 16th, I told you I took my grandson Daniel to counseling. It happens again what happened the last time. I'm not taking him. I already told my son that. He was fine in the car till we took him in there. Nice as he could be. Come out this arrogant jerk. And instead of, now I have took clients to counseling. I've even went in with them. They do the tough love, mean mama thing. Of getting out of the house, getting fresh air, getting socializing, working on bettering your life, and being respectful to other people, and making sure you do your fair share of work. They do the tough love me mama thing because they want better for these people. They want more for them. So when I take my grandson there, he goes back by himself. Well, I had to go to the bathroom. They let me walk through the hallway. There's some idiot on the phone. Well, what did she expect with her being able to get up and start walking? Nobody believes she has arthritis because she could run on a treadmill. What did she expect them to do? Okay. Well, you lunatic bitch, what are you doing in there with my grandson getting counseling? And did you corrupt them to tell him not to listen to anybody? Because he's not only got in hot water with me, but with his mom and dad, because now he's not willing to do anything. Where he told me, when I told him the whole thing's a scam, and just look at it, all the lies as a scam. That's all it is. It's a scam. And we got done talking, and I talked to him and Tyler. From Melissa's kids being documenting jokes, to where I had bruises, throwing up, Apparently they have been they were roofing me and beating on me, and I never even seen anybody. And it was sick. Your grandfather letting those drug dealers hurt me and play with me like that. And the tape of Weird with Yourself you didn't know about? Yeah, I know we didn't know. I said they've already bragged and confessed it's a photoshopped a washing in the shower. And they had drugged me and told me to say horrible stuff. And they thought they could take their scam to the FBI and they'd actually scam them out of money. They're that crazy. And realize everything you've heard, everything you've been told, the whole thing was just a scam. And, you know, Daniel's like, I needed to hear that. Got better, started practicing driving. Getting out, he said life don't seem as scary. Okay? Sweet kid, how we got there. Went in the back, heard that idiot behind the door. He came out a drunk. I said, so, when do you want to start practicing driving again? I'm tired of you picking up my life. I'll let you know when I'm ready. I am not a servant. And I won't help you if you talk to me like that. Like he said before, you're the only one willing to help me. Was getting out places. He was starting to feel good, realizing life's not that scary. And that he could actually hold down a job. He just needed help grieving over his grandfather betraying all of us. Instead, he said, I got my own problems to work through. I said, do you want to talk about it? Not with you. Oh, hell no. Well, he didn't pick up, his mom and dad are working a lot of hours. They're 18. They didn't bother to do anything around the house. Let it go to pot. Just trashed. So they got in trouble with their mom and dad. Now they've been up playing video games like they're 12 years old all night long. And sleeping all day instead of out looking for a job and practicing driving. That counselor puts them like that again. They won't be going back for somebody to run their life. And that Will guy and his people cannot show up at counseling places. They cannot show up at my work. They cannot talk to my work. They can't tell my neighbors stuff. They can't stalk and harass me. If I find out who's behind it and they are a attorney, you lost your license the first day because I'm calling the Bar Association. And then I'm going to sue the hell out of you. For all my injuries. Like you said, you made me live through complete horror. So we're going to have a talk about that family. The family that on March 27th, 25 admitted to an FBI agent. They were all lying to the FBI that it offended them. It didn't even concern them. Lisa's father killed her kid. She wasn't even there. They were just lying to help him get away with it. March 20th, 26, Walmart West test by the electronics. An investigator, I haven't found one bit of this funny, since that family that was telling people it offended them, strange calling her a faker, admitted to an FBI agent a year ago. They were all lying to the FBI and it didn't even concern them. To help these people get away with it. Found out Strange hated the government, that's why he tried it with us. Okay, so we're going to put it this way. What do I expect of that family? Well, let's see. I had 6 to 10 surgeries, my muscles locked up. Went to a bunch of crackpots, gave me a bunch of wrong meds, falsely diagnosed me. Over 1.5 to 2 years, they almost killed me. My whole body swells up, thyroid, adrenal gland. Shuts down, seizures, heart attacks. And another doctor, my community health, told me those doctors were known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, getting kickbacks from drug companies, sharing them with associates and friends, doing the same thing, to get an attorney and sue them. They'd represent us in court. They almost killed me. They were defrauding me and ripping me off. And it was a medication making me sick. And told me to turn them over to the state to pull their license. Encouraged us to sue them for years. Told the FBI that in 18. So it's all documented fraud. Okay. And then, so I get with Dr. Eli, September, October of 2002. And over 9 months, I learned to walk again as the swelling goes down. I do have degenerative joint disease. Okay. I do have arthritis. And where I had massive swelling, I have an MRI report, you stupid idiot bitch. MRI shows the degenerative joint disease, fluid under the knee, swelling in the legs, tore muscles along the knees, violent falls where I already have arthritis, fluid, pushed them right on out. Fluid-filled cyst forming on another one. And I Googled one of the medical words. It means microscopic breaks. Orthopedic surgeon put me in canes and braces and kept draining my knees. Until my muscles got strong enough to help hold my legs in place. Now, and all that swelling left. And I started with Dr. Eli September, October of 2002, pulled me off all the medicine, put me on fentanyl patches, Vicodins, and muscle relaxers. By April of 2003, I'm almost well. Went from a 24 to a 16. Okay? I'm standing by the back door, watching their son Tyler and my son Danny play. They come up to me, Sister Karen, it's so good to see you at church. Look how much weight you've lost. We always see you pulling yourself up and down streets, stores, malls, doing your own grocery shopping, driving your own car. You'll beat this on your own. I said, well, they talk about remission. They said, the way you're going, you're going to beat it on your own. Keep it up. Well, within 2 weeks, their father takes their son to a church baseball game. They've kept my kids at home to help replace carpets in the bedrooms. Now, we're all at home. Brian Laney had to show up and tell us how Phil was the lead car. Speeding, ran a stop sign into a semi. It was like an explosion. He was ripped into pieces and that kid was ejected through the air and slammed on the pavement. Instantly killed. I got we weren't even there. By then, I had been practicing for months, walking, trying to learn to walk again. And from the extra fluid on my legs and knees, my knees would pop out of place. And I take 1 step, 2 steps, 6 steps, eventually, and then more. And because that day I knew I was going up and down the steps, I wore my braces. And when I left, I always made sure I had my braces in case so I wouldn't fall in public and get hurt. I just had my braces on that day. Ryan seen me waddle outside after John after he ran outside when he heard they got killed. Waddle like a duck. Okay? I got my fentanyl patches redone in June, and I finished getting well in July. It took me 9 months. Strange didn't make up that lie till November of 2003. 6 months after a traffic accident I had nothing to do with. Nothing. They had nothing to do with me. Okay? When he thought I was following Tim and Katie, and I told you about that. He ended up, and he took Danny and pushed him to suicide. Now, what do I expect from that family? I expected a lot more out of those people. Her father would turn over in her grave, and so would their son. Phil's arrogant mistake of showing off, costing them both their lives. Using his mistake to take it out on me to cover up Tim and Katie, then help steal from the government and have me harmed, he'd be pissed. It was his mistake. I had nothing to do with it. And Tyler being Danny's best friend, and letting that minister, when he thought he was, that I was following Tim and Katie and it was Linda following her husband, to take his best friend and push him to suicide, and then try to use their tragedy by having his friend pushed to suicide, then years later to use that their tragedy to kill his best friend's mother so his dad can have a prostitute. My God. You know what I expected out of those people? I don't know what you have against Karen, but you're not going to involve our tragedy. And we're not being involved in this. That's what I expected out of them. I expected them to be good people and to stand up for what's right. And looked at that minister and said, I don't care what you have against Karen, but you're not involving us. And you're not involving our family tragedy and manipulating it. That's what I expected out of them. You know, in 2003, people would walk around the church. They'll have to learn to live with the shame of her father killing her kid. They'll have to learn to live with the shame of their father killing their kid. Well, they need to stop putting the shame on somebody that wasn't even there. Had nothing to do with it. So, bitch, what did I expect? I expected them to be better people. And just because her father did an arrogant stunt, and a minister makes up a baby lie to cover up his son's adultery 6 months later, I expected them not to participate and be good people. Because they were even rooting me on to get well. So we're going to put it that way. And Ira's already almost well. And if her father wouldn't have been speeding, would have stopped at that stop sign, they'd both be alive. I had nothing to do with that. And was I just to hold off getting well for a year or two? No. Why should I have been working for 9 months, and it was months later? Had nothing to do with them. They are not God Almighty. And they already confessed they're big liars. Let's see, I think Jean Braden got well that year. I didn't see him try to kill her. There's another lady got well too. Why didn't they kill her? Maybe because they didn't think that, they weren't supposed to be the one following Tim and Katie. They thought it was me and it was Linda. So when you say, what do I expect? I expected them to be better people. And those people would turn over in their grave and be pissed at them for the way they're acting. That's why. And for all them to think that they were in there to help steal for Katie and her family, shame on them. Shame on them. So what did you tell my grandson Daniel's counselor that he came out and was rude and disrespectful? I have took people to counseling. I have took him to counseling. I had a client ask me to go in once. He introduced me, and then she looked right at him and started screaming at him. I went, I'll leave you two alone. I'll wait out in the car. Half hour later, he walks out. That fucking bitch don't know what she's talking about. She was telling him off for not acting right. Okay, now we're going to have a talk. Do you realize how big a retard you sound? Nobody believes she has arthritis because she could run on a treadmill. I took care of a girl that probably was about 18 months old mentally, all crippled up like this, okay? Legs turned in. Her family wanted us to take her to the Y to work out. We're not physical therapists, we're DSPs, you know what I mean? Or home health care aides. I went with another caretaker and we took her swimming, and it was horrible. They had a chair to get her up out of that pool, or we wouldn't have been able to take her swimming there. Get the idea? Had to put a life jacket on her, hold on to her, so she could bob around. Well, this overzealous new house manager took her to that Y by herself. They said she can walk on a treadmill. I thought, how? You have to hold on to her hands when she walks. Oh, put her hands on the treadmill and start it. She'll walk. Well, she left her on there a little bit too long, more than a minute or two. Pulled that baby's back out. We had to literally hold her up for, about 4 or 5 weeks till her back healed. But if somebody that crippled, it's just walking. Now, can I run down the street? Yeah. Will it look that great? Hell no. When I ran on the treadmill, would I run for 3 minutes? Had to hold on to the 5 minutes. Hold on to the bars. And it wasn't actually running, it was fast walking. And I had to hold onto the bars so I wouldn't fall. What happened when I got off of it? I came upstairs and my knee popped out of place. I haven't got on it since. So why couldn't I run? That has nothing to do with arthritis. Why did my knees pop out of place, you dumbass bitch? With the arthritis, I had swelling on my legs. Fluid pushing the knees out of place. There's not enough cartilage to hold them there. Why did they pop out of place? Because there's fluid under the knees, too. Tore the muscles, microscopic breaks. Fluid-filled cysts falling around. I was so full of fluid. I even had pneumonia several times. Those doctors almost killed me. And it's they told the FBI and police in 18 that it's all documented fraud, medical malpractice, medication errors, and they were just ripping me off, defrauding me, and almost killed me. And they told them that. And it took me, if I would have sued them, I would have been a millionaire. They'd still be in jail. Like investigators said, they better thank God we didn't find out about the medical fraud before. Those doctors would still be in jail. You know that. Now, we're going to put it this way. Do you think you can just, what did she expect with getting up walking after that family's tragedy? It was months later, bitch. The world don't stop for them. And they already confessed they were lying to the FBI. They've been called out in Walmart, and as if you didn't know. What did you expect? I expected them not to take their grief and anger out on an innocent victim that had nothing to do with it, that was going through her own problems of 4 or 5 years. 2 years of surgeries, 2 years of medical malpractice, and almost a year to get well. And was fighting her hardest to learn to walk again and strengthen up her muscles so I could actually walk on my own and to have to learn balance. And what I went through had nothing to do with them. Did you expect me just to stay sick for another year? See, that's where they're not God Almighty. Their father murdered their son. I wasn't there. Had nothing to do with what I was going through. And like I said, they were even rooting me on. And I didn't finish getting well for 2 more months, and Strange didn't make it up for 6 more months. Like they said, they were lying to the FBI and everyone else that offended them, trying to help these people get away with it. They all thought they were stealing and defrauding the FBI for Katie's family. Where Katie used to brag everybody was stealing for her. They were some girls up in Summit Mall before March 5th were talking. It's Katie's family trying to steal everything for themselves. Get the idea of what's going on. I expect people not to use me as a whipping boy. Of anytime they're hurt and have pain, oh, we'll just go find Karen and beat on her. She didn't have nothing to do with it, but she's an easy target. That's what I expect. And I expected them to be better people, and I expected them to have integrity and put Strange in their place. You're not manipulating our family's tragedy and disgracing our dead family members' names by bringing it into any kind of scam you got. And I don't care what you got against Karen, but you're not bringing us into it. I expect him to have integrity. So what did I expect? I expected integrity. And it took me months later to get well. He didn't make it up for 6 months. Like they said, they were lying. Of course they were. They didn't kill Jean. They didn't kill the other lady that got well. Why did they kill her? Because Strange still getting even with me for thinking I followed Tim and Katie. It was Linda. So why don't you stop your lying fucking mouth? And I find out your name. I'm going to the Bar Association first 10 minutes. Turning you in for the crimes you've done. You won't have a license. It's automatic disbarment. And then I'm going to get a real attorney and sue the ass out of you. For everything you got. Where you said you made me live through horror. For what reason? Because you're the Bill from the Freemasons' big scam? The guy, that had to pull off a scam here? To join us, and that other Michelle told on him for the dirty doctor not being one of hers, worse for them than they had lied. He was one of her doctors, and the whole thing's a scam. The big scammer will. Attorneys are not allowed to go interfere in your life. Where did you people think they were? They cannot be hired to set up button cameras in people's homes. They are disbarred and legally charged with voyeurism, wiretapping, cyber stalking, sextortion if they want money. They're like 20 years. Without the kiddie porn of my grandkids going potty. Without what? The drug confessions, being rape, and human trafficking under drugs. It's life. They can't be in your home no matter what. They can't be trusted. They can't be anything. It's a right of privacy over your home. President Nixon couldn't even bug an office. Remember Watergate? You have a right to privacy. They cannot go to your doctor, opposing attorneys. They can't try to get information. They cannot get your medical records. They can't talk to your neighbors and badmouth you. They can't have you stalked. They can't stalk you. They can't go to your work. They cannot try to get you fired. They can't run around trying to ruin you. they are disbarred and criminally charged. I looked it up, it's 10 to 50 years. That's how much they can't do this shit. You know, I've heard the ridiculous thing of them laying out my medical records and just showing them to everyone. You know, I told the lady that did my hair the other day, she said that's ridiculous. I could never get your whole medical record. She said it has to be fake. I said, well, in January 19, they said they had fake paperwork to make it look official. Well, with it finding out that it's just Henry Maffei, the Agent John's paid prostitute girlfriend. It's her dad, pretending to be a dirty doctor. He's the one sending out emails asking, telling men she thinks she's so beautiful, so why don't you show up and call her ugly? Turn that damn fool in for trying to get you to stalk me. Get that asshole arrested. He's not funny. Like he said, he's trying to pull a fast one on the FBI and steal all the money for himself. They're trying to get a bunch of cartel released. And it's going to cost the government $10 to $25 billion in settlements. Gas prices will be $5 to $10 a gallon. Your groceries will be 3 times more. And about 1,000 to 2,500 serial killers will be released and thousands will die. That's how not funny this is. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. But you need to find out what that bitch was doing in there for that Will guy, the attorney guy, that's supposed to be making people live through complete horror. The one that's to pull a scam on to join the Texas drug cartel. The Bill from the Freemasons, big scam. The big scammer. What the hell were they doing to my grandson's counselor? They can't go around talking to his counselor. They had no right talking to him. They can lose their license. They can't talk to my doctors. They can't talk to my neighbors. They can't talk to my employers. They can't interfere in my life at all. Where did you think an attorney could? They go to jail 10 to 50 years. And if Agent John is not deep undercover, he's looking at life imprisonment. And it even said that he could face the death penalty. It's that severe what he's done. Like I said, Agent John, I prayed for you. And I've honestly shed tears praying for you. That there's a hope that you're just deep undercover. And that you're not actually this evil. May God forgive your soul for all those people that died here. And for what you're trying to betray the United States government and the agency you work for to rob them blind. Selling government technology to the cartel. And I'm tired of people saying, oh, they're getting even with her for saying something. That agent told on me. Told on me. For calling the hotline. Told people he didn't care. I was being drugged, beaten, raped. Even told people he was going to turn me back over to him. Admitted on a recorded line. He had all those church people in his office. Knew they were trying to kill me. Laughing at me. Made fun of me for some guy named Pete. How was I to know it was his prostitute girlfriend's dad? And he's the one playing dirty doctor. And the whole thing is it had to have been a scam because it was ridiculous. Mocking me and bullying me on a recorded line. And he admitted they were illegally monitoring me and already knew. Then, what is a jail sentence for an FBI agent if he tells an informant if they say anything? They won't get their money? It's 20 to life. What is a jail sentence for a judge signing it? 20 to life. Was a jail sentence for an FBI agent if he tells an informant if they say anything and won't get their money? What is it? What is a jail sentence for an FBI agent if they tell an informant they won't get their money if they say anything? 20 to life. Same for the judge. What is the jail sentence for an FBI agent? If he tells an informant if they say anything they won't have protection, it's attempted murder. Aiding and abetting crimes, obstruction of justice, tampering with witness. It's 20 to 30 years. Same for a judge. If they would sign it. First Amendment, freedom of speech. No man, under the color of the law, no one can take your rights away. You have a freedom of speech. The only time a judge can put a gag order on you is in a jury trial. And only during the jury trial. They can't sign anything else. They go to jail. And agents are only police officers. Like the Starr County Sheriff said, I knew that agent didn't have the authority to ask her to stay quiet, and I knew it was blackmail. And he was only, like they said, he's only bullying me. That's where, if he is this crap, that's why I offered. I went through different things about how they're breaking for him defrauding me. Not paying me, they're going to get the drug cartel released. So I looked up the other reasons why it could be thrown out. If they write up a statement that I was willing to stay up there to be surveillance while they got surveillance on those people they hired to kill me, harm me, and to harm others, knowing I was risking my life and was facing personal harm, knowing that agency alone would be paying me and compensating me for my injuries, knowing my constitutional rights, First Amendment, freedom of speech, that agent was only bullying me on a recorded line. He didn't even have the authority to say it. He was just bullying me. And the FBI would be taking care of this themselves. It takes me from being a victimized victim that was being defrauded by the FBI to a knowledgeable worker that was willing to risk her life and personal harm to help them get information on these people. Like they said, our plan will work if they'll take it. You have to pay me, compensate me. I do need a medical card. A letter of thank you would be nice. Sign it. Don't have to say much. Don't hang on my wall till I die. And then I have one other request. I know the little scams of the Alice in Wonderland of Twilight Zone of crackheads. I've lived in it for years. Them and their lunacy. There in the FBI case, there is legal police surveillance. It should be 12/21/18. I get a shower. I put a house coat on. Go to the refrigerator to get a juice. Open the refrigerator door. I hear I can't wait for the truth no longer. Stabbed in the neck, foggy, hazy, dark, bright light. Felt myself cry. I was out for 6 hours. I have a dent in my head. I woke up, I had bruises on my neck. I had bruises everywhere. That's when they try to claim they chipped me and kidnapped me that day. I need somebody to find out if they just bashed my skull in. And see, that's where this whole lunacy, where they're saying a drug lord had it done so it could see if you could lie with a chip. Like, see, that I should not even have to Google information and research stuff on stuff that's techie. I was just a little banker, a little loan processor. Now I'm a little home health aide. I don't wear a lab coat. Not a scientist. But I do know how to use Google, and I do know how to research on the law that outlawed it. Okay? I also, you know how people with hearing implants, it goes into their brain to send electronic signals so they can hear sounds. That thing works the same. It actually only takes an hour. I did so much research. I watched them put them in, take it out. You know, they cut your skull open, they lay it down, expand it out, and then surgically glue your head back on. Isn't that disgusting? I learned that. And then to remove it, it's a reverse. You cut your skull open, they take it out. It takes an hour. That's it. And it is removable. Your brain goes back to normal. That's not even funny. You would even claim that a terrorist group did that to me. That's Twilight Zone fiction stuff. But I also did so much research on it. The government had it before 2000. They tried it in Guanaco Bay. Okay? All those agents are still in jail. They did it to 4 people. 1 died. The other ones had it removed. They got compensated. That's when they outlawed it. And now outlawed using like LSD and stuff like that on people. And it's against all human rights and all human dignity. Create a law against it. U.S. Supreme Court. On the ruling. And what I also learned about those things, because like the ear implant that it goes into your brain, so you can hear sound, they can actually transfer back and forth. It's like a cell phone. But what's really bad with me, those were that prostitute on June 26, the drug dealers we hired to do this to her. Where they kicked in my door, it was drug dealers. How they photoshopped the washing scene in the other room to make me look weird cackling. Well, they also admitted they used hypnotic drugs, drugged me up, and told me to say it before. Okay? And I don't think it's funny because I've never seen her talk to anybody. And for rapists and drug dealers to hide in my home, and where we always got peace in the house, because it was a big nest, to look for a bee, and they said they had stabbed me in the hallway, and I kept thinking, why wouldn't I remember being stabbed? And then I thought, oh my God, I was probably looking for a bee. You wouldn't think to look for a human being, sit down, take a drink, the room goes dizzy and black, or wake up with orange, lemon, grapefruit-sized bruises, severely infected. And blaming the orange well water you're showering in. Never see or talk to anybody. Rapists playing with you. And then where they showed up the case where you had bruises throwing up and infected, it wasn't the well water, it was us. Okay? We had drugged you and raped you. We had drugged you and told you to say this. We had drugged you and told you to say that. We photoshopped all our lies. Breaked 18. They had played with me for 6 months. 6 months of framing me. So what would you get out? The craziness they put in me. But it's not funny. Do I think they chipped me? No. Well, flat out. It's not that it's not impossible, but I don't believe that terrorist group did it. They used to try to tell people it was a secret government experiment. Oh, bite me. They've had them since before 2000. And then it was outlawed in interrogations. You have a right to remain quiet, you twits. Your little Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole of chaos and insanity needs to stop. But I do need somebody to find out what they did to me. It's important. I do have a doubt in my head. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. Somebody from the FBI does need to pay me. And Officer Mark, Officer John, you need to get to a different agent. And maybe put some more pieces of the puzzle. And if Agent John is not undercover, he's probably been part of planning it with that prostitute and that Henry Mafia the whole time. And where the Texas cartel said they paid him off, he may have took a bail. And he is working against the U.S. government, selling technology. And He's very dangerous. Somebody pays me, I'll sign a statement. One of you guys could bring it over. I'll sign the statement, have my checks, my medical card. You probably need to get me and Carl out of here to a safer place. There was a big guy looking for the prostitute, showed up last week, Delaware, Carrollton area. Found out that girl stole more money. She was willing to work it off. The drug lord was willing to let her work it off. She stole more money. Nobody was ever to touch her, and then he's trying to blame the drug lord for running the scam of the chip, running thing. See, that's where, it's not funny they're saying that. When I have a dent in my head, I had migraines for years. I felt like half my head was going to explode, severe concussion. Do I believe I have a chip? No. But I did have a CAT scan on March 13, 21. You might want to, I have pictures on my phone. Have some independent person look at it. There is a couple funky scans, but it may just be the trauma where they hit my head in. Where I got a small dent the size of a hammer. Can you find out what they did to me? And then we need to fix it. That's why I need a medical card. I have fast-growing cataracts on my eyes. I'm going to need surgery from being bashed in the back of the head. The pressure changes in your eyes and it causes fast-growing cataracts to form years later. My eyes are healthy otherwise. And once they remove my eyesight, we'll probably go back down to 20/20. Or they're pretty close. For the case, the only time I wore glasses is to read. My eyesight was that good. But I need you to find, it should be 12/21/18. Find out what they did to me. And then we'll deal with that one. And then I'm so tired of their psycho scams. Their Twilight World scams. And I'm tired of idiots going along with it. I'm going to flip this.